Video, I just want to share with you the differences between a software engineer and a sales engineer. So stay tuned. My background is in IT. I've been in IT for about 20 years. I remember building my first website. It was just in HTML back in the old Alta Vista days. I remember having a 486DX computer. My dad spent about $5,000 on it, which is a lot of money back then. And I've always played around with computers. I know how to build a computer. I know how to build websites. I know how to build software, mobile apps over the years. And yeah, like people consider me as a tech guy. So when they hear I'm into tech, people always contact me and say, "Hey, could you fix my website or could you fix my computer?" And I'm always dealing with computers. And just recently, over the past maybe about 10 years, so I've always been in jobs where I was a software developer. Where I remember my first job was a .NET ASP.NET web developer. So I was building this e-commerce website with a team. It was a very small company based in Perth, and that's how I got into it. I drank lots of coffee. I was just reading tutorials, and I was just learning how to code and everything. I remember I had this big ASP.NET book, and that was pretty much it. I just started learning and so forth. And if you're a software engineer, you understand the same thing. You probably don't read books. You probably go on YouTube tutorials and Stack Overflow and so forth. But yeah, that's my background. That was always been my destiny, right? So I think that's what my parents wanted me to be, was an engineer, and that's what I became, right? But then I did a personality test, and I found that my strengths is with people. So I'm pretty good with people. I know how to talk to them. I can also sell as well. I can also convert technical knowledge into something that's more understandable. I've got this other part of myself that is also dealing with people. So I've done public speaking. I've done events. I've trained thousands of people as well. So it's like another part of me that hasn't been nurtured enough, that I feel that I need to really maximize my potential in. So that's what happened. Was when I did these personality tests, it says that I was more destined towards maybe a sales type of role, or sales engineer type of not sales engineer, but a more salesy, more people type of focus. Because let's face it. I mean, how many software engineers are doing YouTube videos, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm more drawn to the whole personality side of it, but I'm still coding. I'm still building a WordPress website, and I'm still doing a lot of coding, but I've also using the people side of things. So anyway, so you probably have the question: what's the difference between a software engineer and a sales engineer? And if you're thinking about making the transition between a software engineer and a sales engineer, I've gone through the entire process myself. So the first 15 years of my career was all software development. I was, building software, programming websites, I have my own cubicle, my computer, I'm just coding all day long. Don't have to worry about anything. So let's talk about the benefits of software engineers. So the benefits of software engineering is that you don't talk to people. It's pretty cool. You just sit in the corner, you just code all day. You don't have to deal with any bullshit. The managers go do it with their thing. Project managers do their thing. They just tell you what to do, and you just sit there, you just code. That's it. I remember I was talking to a CEO once, and he was really busy. He's really very successful as well. But he said that software engineering is one of the easiest jobs in the whole world. And that's a statement said from being on the outside. So if you're on the outside looking at coding, you might be thinking, "Oh, that's pretty easy." But as a coder, as a developer, I understand the frustrations that you go through, because you're constantly problem solving. Because programming is not about coding; it's actually problem solving. I know that if you're a developer looking at this, if you're trying to do some coding and the compiler is not building, and it gets frustrating, and you start questioning your life choices. So therefore, you go on Stack Overflow, you ask questions, and you find a solution, copy that code, paste it into your code. I know that that's what you do, and we all do it as well. So yeah, that's the life of a software engineer, is that you're constantly coding. You're not really talking to people. It can be very lonely, but if you're an introvert, you don't really care, because that's what you're doing. And one cool thing, you get to play with new technologies. So you got cloud technology at the moment. You got AWS, you got Azure. You're playing with Docker containers, which is in the olden days when you got websites, you have to put it on a computer system where you have to management will have to build it up, and it's really expensive. The next level up is virtual servers, so it's all virtualized. So you put all the websites and content onto that virtual server. But now it's the next level up is Docker containers. So Docker container is more like it's like a process that runs on a computer system. So it's more lightweight, it's more cheaper as well. And instead of spending thousands of dollars on a computer to host your website, you're not really spending much, maybe a couple of cents a day just to run your website, right? So you get to play with all this new cool technology, and I really like that. I like playing with new technology, and if that's what you want to do, that's cool, right? But that's what you always do is you'll always be a good coder. You'll always be you'll be able to solve problems. When people come up to you with technical problems, you'll be able to solve it because you're learning all these new technologies. So that's cool. And what's also cool is that you get to see your creation as well. So something that you've been working on for a long time, you'll see it being built. You'll see people using it, and it's actually a really good feeling. It's like you've given birth, right? So yeah, that's a life of a software engineer. Is that you're building stuff, you're seeing people use it, and yeah, you get to play with new technology, but this is the thing that I've learned is that with software engineering, there's all this new technology that would keep coming on board, and you have to keep learning. You got to keep your skills up to date, and the deeper you go, the harder it is to get out. It's like a rabbit hole because you have to learn this, you have to use this, you have to use this, and the more better that you get on that, the more deeper you go into software engineering, and it's harder for you to break out of it. And if you don't like sitting in a corner all day coding, then software engineering is not for you. If you can't handle the pressure, the frustration of technology, then software engineering is not for you. And if you need to talk to someone, need to stay engaged with people, need to get out there, don't go ahead with software engineering. But I don't want to say that don't go after software engineering if you really want to do it, because you can actually earn lots of money in it, because the highest paid software engineers, it's about 150K in Australia. So you can, if you're like a CTO, obviously if you know how to code, and you know technology, and you're pretty good people, you can become a CTO, which is a Chief Technical Officer. You can make about 150K per year, and that's pretty cool. And that's pretty good money. You know, you can buy properties with it. You can do quite a lot of things. But here's the thing, right? With software engineering is that there is a ceiling on your income. No matter how good your code is, no matter what you do, the technology that you use, no matter how clean your code is, no matter what it is, you'll always earn that same amount of money. And if money is not a motivation for you, then just stick with software engineering and don't worry about anything else. Just focus on technology, just code, and don't deal with any other crap. And there will be that ceiling on your income. But here's the thing, right? If you're a developer, here's my thing is if you're a developer in your 40s, your 50s and 60s, then the companies will automatically replace you with a junior coder who's just graduated from school. So if you're making 150K, they'll replace you with another coder who's just graduated from school making 50K a year. And that really sucks. And you can probably, you got options, you probably go out there, get another job. But if that's the pathway that you want to go to, then that's the pathway. But I personally think that you can do a lot more things with your software engineering skills. Hence the reason you become a sales engineer. So what is a sales engineer? A sales engineer is someone who's got the technical background. So it's really good for people who's got a background in development and also technical as well. But they can also talk to people as well. So one thing I find in my 20 years career in software development, software engineering, IT, is that there is a huge shortage of people who don't have the skills to talk to people, but they got skills in technology, but they don't know how to talk to people. And you'll be so surprised that you can easily move up the ranks in management, in project management, whatever, all these management type of roles. If you've got the technical skills, but you know how to talk to people, then they'll automatically put you in that position, because that is such a crucial role. Because the normal people, they don't have this technology skills that you might have as a software engineer. They don't. When you start talking about HTML, they just go, "What is HTML?" But as a software engineer, that's just that's basic stuff. That's just ABC, right? So as a sales engineer, if you can persuasively convince someone to buy your product, buy your software, and you can sell that, then that is a sales engineer. Your responsibility is to actually contribute to revenue for a company. So you have to be learning how to sell. You have to know how to persuade people, do presentations. So it's a whole like personality type of thing, a whole people side of technology. but you also need to keep up to date with the latest technology. So if you don't know how to code, if you don't know the latest cloud technologies, if you don't know version control, CI/CD pipelines, if you don't know how to do GitHub or push commit code to the branch and all those type of things, then it's going to be a bit tricky, because when you're sitting there in a boardroom, which is what I've done before, if you sit there in a boardroom with all these lawyers and corporate executives, C-level executives, and there's a CTO sitting there, he's judging you, right? And he's saying, let's test this guy. Let's see how much technical technology this guy knows. If he asks you a technical question, you can't answer it, then he loses confidence. He goes back to the boss and says that these guys don't know what they're doing. But as a sales engineer, if you've got those skills, you can talk back and say, yeah, it's very easy. You got to connect to it using a pipeline and pulling JSON query. You got to use the API, and then you forward the JSON body package back to the server, get a response back, and then that's how you connect it, and that's how you integrate with your systems. When they hear that, they say, okay, this guy's a coder. He knows what he's doing. He gives the CEO a nod. The CEO signs a contract, and you just make $500,000 for the company, and everyone's all happy. So why get into sales engineer? I mean, why bother getting into a sales engineer job? Well, number one is the money stuff. Okay, so money stuff is awesome, because if you're going to be making a lot of money as a sales engineer, because you can earn commissions and you can earn bonuses. So because you're contributing to the bottom line of the company, that makes you incredibly valuable. But as a software engineer, you're basically you're a person who is considered an expense. Sorry to say that, but you're creating the software, right? And which can potentially make money, and you are fixing problems, but they're looking at you as an expense. But if you're a person who's contributing to revenue for the company, you're going to be the last one to get fired, because you're actually making money for the company. Why would they bother firing you? They'll fire everyone else, but you're actually paying for people's salary as a sales engineer. So that makes you more valuable than the software engineer person, because they can just easily downsize you, fire you, get someone cheaper just to do the same code, because code is like, someone who's got the skills, they'll just like get someone else just to code up again. But it's hard to find a sales engineer who's got the software development skills and also knows how to contribute to revenue. That makes you so valuable, guys. So, and another thing about sales engineers is that you're dealing with people all day long, because you're dealing with angry people. And you have to deal with personalities. You got to be you got to be composed. You got to have that personality, and yeah, it's a different. You branch away from technology, but you still have to learn technology. And I find that you can get a bit rusty with technology, because you're so dealing with people so much. You're not sitting in front of the computer so much, so therefore it's hard for you to keep up to date sometimes, and that's a fact. However, it is a lot more fun, because they'll say, hey, I need you to fly over to Brisbane. I need you to fly over international, go close the deals and stuff. So you'll be flying a lot. You'll be going to a lot of meetings. You'll be driving a lot. So it's a lot of fun, to be honest. You create your own times. It's a very dynamic type of role where you're dealing with lots of different people. But as a software engineer, you're always going to be at one spot all the time. And you're just going to be coding all day long. And that's pretty much what you do. And one cool thing about software engineer is that you get to stay home and code, which is pretty cool. If you don't want to move around, then that's a software engineer. Sales engineers, you're always meeting people. And one thing I like about a sales engineer is that when you're traveling, you get to see all these cool things, and meet all these interesting people. And I find that the best memories in my life are coming from the people who it's coming from the memories where I get to meet all these different people, and it's from different memories, different stories. But I can't seem to find good memories of myself sitting in front of a cubicle just coding. Like, weeks, months go by, and I look back in those months, and it's just like, I just feel like I've wasted my life. Like, I've just sit in that office coding, and there's just no memories. It's just like I'm a zombie. Think about, if you're a software engineer, like, those months and years where you're sitting in front of the computer just staring at the same location. I mean, you're getting paid, but you're doing the same thing. What if you replace that memory with going out there, meeting all these different people with all these interesting stories to share? Now, one time when I was flying on a plane and nearly crashed, but then I managed to survive that one, And I remember one time I got to this boardroom meeting. They were late, but then they came there and they busted me or whatever it is. There's all these different things that happen, and that makes life interesting. So overall, my philosophy is that life is short, and you should maximize it as much as you can. So I personally think that hold on to your technical skills, but try and maximize the time that you have by making it interesting, by meeting people, closing deals, and just try and increase that skill there. And you'll find you're going to have a lot more fun. And finally, the biggest thing with a sales engineer is that it's unlimited income. There is no ceiling on your income. You can go out there, you can go out and sell like 100K software, 50K software, whatever it is, and the boss is not going to tell you to stop selling. All you have to do is keep selling, keep selling, keep selling, and therefore the boss is going to take really good care of you, give you bonuses, give you cars, whatever it is. And that money that you make, since it's unlimited income, you can keep buying properties, you can get more wealthier. But with a software engineer, you'll always be stuck with that income, and your lifestyle will stay the same. Everything will stay the same as a software engineer, but as a sales engineer, as a salesperson, essentially, there is no ceiling on your income. Of course, you're tied to performance, and if you don't produce, you might get fired. We can all get fired. But if you can nail down the skill of sales and you combine it with technology, there is nothing stopping you, okay? So that's my take on the differences between a software engineer and a sales engineer. So have a think about it. If you're good with people, I highly encourage you to maximize your potential and try to nurture that personality of people. But if you're such an introvert, you don't want to deal with people and you've had enough, just go down the software engineering path, do it for a while, and then think about transitioning over software engineer as a sales engineer. And as a sales engineer, there's all these different pathways that you can take on, which is account management. You can deal with a sales manager type of role. You can start your own company, because every company requires revenue. And if you know how to produce income through your sales engineer, through your sales skills, you can start your own business and you can make money on your own. But as a software engineer, you just know how to code and that's it. You don't know how to sell. So you can never really build your own company unless you get funding and then you hire salespeople. But with a sales engineer, you learn how to sell and you can start any company anywhere around the world at any time. Okay, so that's my take on the differences between a software engineer and a sales engineer. Hope you got lots of value out of this. Please be sure to check out my YouTube channel at ubrelentless.com and my website as well. I've got a lot of great content to share with you on technology, sales, personal development, and finance. And please sure to subscribe to my channel. I hope you like it. And stay tuned for more amazing episodes. So thank you very much for your time and take care. See ya.